Hello, welcome back to More Meet Arthur. My name is Mickey, and my sidekick Dan will not be with us today. He is not travelled down to Devon. We're in Brixham, and we thought while we're down here, we'll do a little podcast because the people that are with us today, bar cameraman Scott and Shay from the media team, is Jack and Ethan. Jack and Ethan, would you like to tell us why you are on Meet Arthur's podcast today?
I'm Meet Arthur's old guitar player.
Yep.
And I am Meet Arthur's current drummer.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Isn't
You
that
both
fun?
are. It is fun. And we, episode 2 of the podcast, Musical Chairs, I forgot to say what it's actually called. Me and Dan sat down and done our Mount Rushmores of music. And we also just had a little bit of a chat of like why we got into music and stuff like that. And I thought, do you know what? That would be a good chat with Ethan and Jack because there's like they're two sides of a decade, pretty much, where you know Jack is 29 but Ethan's 21. Ethan's just getting into like being a musician, and then Jack's like had a lot of experience of just what it's actually like to try and be a musician, which I don't see too many podcasts sitting and having that conversation. And it sucks. There's a lot of rubbish that comes with trying to be a musician, and we'll get into that. But first, we are going to start with their Mount Rushmores. Did you guys want to go like one?
I'm up for that. Have we changed topics?
Speak into the microphone, guys.
apologies.
Sorry.
First time.
No, I've not tried to
Okay.
change any of the categories.
Let's go one more.
Jack, would you like to go first?
So what's the first category is favourite band?
So there's no categories. You can do whatever you want, but I gave you some categories that you might wanted to use.
Yeah, those are the ones I've... Okay.
So whatever order you want.
Okay. I'm going to go favourite band is Black Country Communion.
Okay.
I love that band. Wait, have I got to argue them all now, or do I run through
No,
them?
this
and
is
then...
your list and your list only.
Okay, so they're a supergroup made up of 4 members: Glenn Hughes, Joe Bonamassa, Jason Bonham, and Derek Sherinian. And I just think they fucking rock. I'm swearing. I just think they rock. They're
Yeah. Fuck it.
nice.
We're on holiday.
Yeah, it's sort of 70s, sort of classic rock. But you know, they're all great musicians. They play really well together, and I just think they're a phenomenal band. They've got 5 albums, and every single one of them is great.
Love that. Love that.
So the next is what favourite artist at the moment, did we say?
Again, I will repeat it for you. There's no categories here. That's just how I done my one. You can do whatever you
The
want.
categories you gave us.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'm
Please,
just gonna go.
please don't ask you.
And it's 4 people.
Yes.
I've definitely
Mount Rushmore.
I've definitely done my research. My favourite artist at the moment, I have been listening basically non-stop to Katie Pruitt's second album for quite a while.
I love
now.
that so much from you.
Her first album,
Expectations.
I was going to say his Expectations, the title track. That song, Expectations, is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And you showed it to me, I think.
Daniel.
Might have been
I'm not
Dan.
taking any
Yeah.
credit for that. That was all Dan.
Dan showed it to us once, and it was just like amazing
She's
song.
incredible.
And then it did that thing where you kind of accidentally discover that their second album has already come out, and so I just didn't know it had come out, and then just stumbled on it. There's a song on there, I think it's called White Lies, White Jesus and You, and that just is such a banger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had that album on non-stop recently.
Me and Dan actually saw Katie Pruitt at the Garage in London like 2 months ago.
Oh, really?
Genuinely up there with one of the best live sets
Yeah, I
I've
bet.
ever seen. Just Nashville musicians just showing us how you play a live
Yeah.
set.
Her like acoustic, she's always doing like acoustic live sessions and stuff on YouTube, and some of the performances are just so great. So good. There's a version of Expectations where I think it's just her and another guitar. Like
Yeah.
I think she's playing the piano, and then there's electric guitar. But it's
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
really good.
Class.
Then third, I feel I'm gonna just go for the classic Jack one. I feel, but I will argue my case. It's like the inspiration category for me, and the honourable mention here is my dad, who played guitar and was a musician, and so not was a musician for work, but just played a lot of music in his spare time. So that was kind of my first introduction to it. But I think I'm in the top 1% of McFly fans on the planet, and I won't hear a bad word against them. I think they're an absolutely just great band. So many good songs. And I saw them at a show in like it must have been like 2008 or 2009 or something. And it was like one of the first like big gigs I went to.
Yeah.
And it was the Sugar Babes were on the lineup. Like it was like McFly and the Sugar Babes somewhere in Woking. Oh no, Weybridge I think it was. It doesn't matter. But it was just like a super formative show for me, and then after that I just never looked back. So they're gonna go my inspiration slot.
There's something special about that's ironic of what I'm about to say. There's something special about the first gig you go to, and I don't mean like when I was like 4, I saw Busted and McFly. No recollection of it at all, so I don't really consider it my first gig. But my first gig was the Specials at Brixton, which is Brixton Academy is my favourite venue. It is just the best venue, and the Specials, you can't really do much better of like a band that's been around and knows what they're doing in a performance. And then their crowd, like I was up in the balcony because I was like I was like 11. I was with my dad, and he went like look over the edge, and I looked down, and it was just a sea of like 5,000 people just jumping. And I think my dream is to play Brixton Academy, because I'm like at 10 I was just like, I would love to know what it looks like to look out at that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And there you go. And it's just like, well, now I need to play this venue.
Yeah. So yeah, McFly go in there.
Ethan, what was your first gig?
My first gig? I feel like it was most likely, I think it was Snarky Puppy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a random one.
That's so like highbrow, if you know, do you know what I mean? Like you're with
that's like really advanced.
McFly, Busted, and you're like Snarky Puppy was my first gig.
Just like, and I'll get
That's
onto
so cool.
it, but like with my dad, like I've been like, I'd like seen gigs, but they were like not. It wasn't a gig. It was more like the kind of the Christian side of that. But I remember, I think I had the day off. I was off ill at school, and then my friend messaged me. He was like, "Oh, I've got a free ticket or like a spare ticket for Snarky Puppy this evening." And I like begged them. I was like, yeah, like they're great. Never listened to a single one of their songs. And I was like, I'm feeling better now, Mum. Can I go? And she was like, sure, go on then. Like, it's fine. Because usually it's like if you're off ill, or like the clubs got cancelled in the evening, or whatever you were doing. And we got right at the front, and like I was like, damn, like this is sick.
Yeah,
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I remember I'd done a course at Royal Albert Hall where we had to put on a live event, and every person on my course, pretty much near enough, had never been to a live show. And I was like, what? And then when we were like watching the band soundcheck for our event, they were like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't think people realize just how impressive live music actually is. It's when it's done well, you can't beat it. It's the best. It's the best. But Jack, would you like to go on to your next?
Yes. And then I think my next one is I'm gonna do favorite like new band, and I'm even though I'm picking the categories, I'm kind of gonna cheat on this one, but I don't care. I've been listening a lot to another young band recently called Witterquick, which is a slightly strange name, but they did kind of a Meet Arthur thing, funnily enough, where had kind of drip fed a couple of EPs and singles quite a few years ago, and then compiled them essentially onto an album, and then released that as like a debut album kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that was 2020, 2021. And then just never heard of them ever again for like a couple years. And literally last month, they just released their like first single back for a couple years, and have decided to like come back or whatever. But that's made me re-listen to the album. I think it's just called Witterquick. so much more recently. And so yeah, that's my fourth on my category.
Nice.
So that's favorite band, Black Country Communion, amazing. Check out their second album. 2,
Katie Pruitt.
Yeah, favorite artist at the moment that I've been listening to is Katie Pruitt, and that second album's amazing. White Lies, White Jesus in You is my song recommendation there. Inspiration, McFly are going in that spot. I love those guys.
How have Stones not made it to your top?
I've kind of been thrown, I think, by having to come up with the categories. Stones, like
You don't have to come up with categories.
Stones would kind of
just
be...
just literally whoever you want in
I
your
thought
top
it was
4.
prompts to the...
No, I said that's how I done mine. But you can do whatever you want.
Then
Yeah, I didn't realise that.
in that case, I feel like Whittaquick shouldn't really be on there because I do really like them at the moment, but not over someone like the Stones or the Eagles. The Eagles are a huge...
You can have an honourable mention then, and then do 4th.
I'm going to stick the Eagles in that 4th spot.
Oh,
That's such a left turn, but
no, that's big.
now I say the 4 of them together, I'm like, they probably don't deserve to be on my like Mount Rushmore of artists. Yeah, the Eagles are amazing. One of These Nights, that album is just incredible. My dad always used to sing Lion Eyes when I was young. Like he was always that guy at any like family event or birthday party where the guitar would come out and he had like 3 songs he would play. One of them was Lion Eyes. One of them was Come Up and See Me by someone and the Something Rebels. I forget. I forget the name
come
of
up
the band.
and see me.
Make me
you
smile.
Yeah.
I'll do what you want. Steve Harley and the Cockney Rebels, I want to say. If I've got that
Not a
wrong,
clue.
that's
No
just
idea.
such a random collection of words. But yeah, Lion Eyes is on the One of These Nights album. The bass intro at the start of that song. Oh my god.
I mean,
Gets
yeah,
me
the
every
Eagles
time.
are the Eagles, man. It's
Yeah.
not much. We've done a few reactions on our channel for the Eagles, and I mean, in that we just give them 100 out of 100.
100, what is it? King Arthur's?
King Arthur's out of 100 King Arthur's, man. It's so easy. They're just so good.
Yeah, they're so good. And yeah, One of These Nights, the first record that they did with Don Felder as well, who was like the other guitar. I don't think he does it with them anymore. I think they all hate each other now, actually, or they all hate
Probably.
him. I think there's a lot of bad blood there. But he's the guy. He's the one that brought Hotel California to the table as like a song for them.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. So then you go. Eagles. My recommendation is One of These Nights. McFly, my recommendation is The Lost Songs. That's really great. It's like a collection of songs that they never released and never really mastered. But
Where can they find them then?
Spotify. Yeah, no, they released it as an album, but like it's a bit of a hodgepodge collection because they're from like demos from different times.
Yeah.
But because they're not released, you know how like, you know, they're McFly are a pop band, have like labels and everything, and so there's an element, I think you've got to release certain songs like this, you've got to have like a big pop single. So I feel like the reason why that's so good is it's kind of songs that never made it onto albums, but for that reason they're a bit more experimental, got some cooler sounds in it, not necessarily as kind of obviously poppy and cheesy
Intro,
and that
verse,
kind of
chorus.
thing. Yeah. And so that, if no one's listened to that before, I would really recommend checking that out. Yeah, Black Country Communion and Katie Pruitt.
Nice.
That's my Mount Rushmore.
That's your
very
Mount
cool.
Rushmore. Right, what we're going to do before we get onto Ethan's Mount Rushmore, we are going to have a little break, and then we shall get into his ones. Right, welcome back. Ethan, do you want to get cracking with your
I
Mount
shall.
Rushmore?
I've got it written
You're
down.
so much more prepared than me with the phone and the and a list.
It's I'm gonna forget this. So here we go. So yeah, I also took it as these are the categories, and this is how you do it. But I am happy and open to change the categories to suit my Mount Rushmore. Let's start off with current favourite band, and I've also put /artist. I really struggle with this because I find that I'm very much an album listener.
Yeah, we went to drive and get my drum kit, me and Ethan, from Southampton, and he was DJ because he was in the passenger seat. And he's noticed now since driving down to Devon that I listen to a verse and a chorus of a song and I go on to the next one. Whereas Ethan would be like, oh, should we listen to some Lower Than Atlantis? And he's like, yeah, man. And we listened to the whole album, like 3 full LTA albums. And he was like, oh, do you know this person? And instead of being like, oh, this song's cool, he's like, let's sit and listen to their whole album right now.
I feel like that's a good way to like get into new bands. I wish I could do it, but like I don't do that often. Usually, if I'm gonna session your album in like one go, I already like you. If you know, or like you've been hooked, and I've been like, oh, I'm gonna go. But that would be such a good thing to do. I might do that with the, what are they called?
Another Sky.
Another Sky,
Yeah,
and that
they
is
were
a
Beach
Beach
Day.
Day. Yeah, that Mickey showed us a few songs from that album today, and that was awesome.
Yeah, man. Another band that Dan introduced me to.
Yeah, I find with the listening to albums, I because I'm always like I like the idea of playlists because I like hearing, like that kind of sound or like genre, but then it never really matches in a playlist because it's all different artists. I'm like, well, I'll just put on the album because it's made by the same person or people.
Yeah, I get you.
And it also means that then I don't have to think about what I'm listening. I just put it on and there's 30, 45 minutes sorted. So what reason I brought that up is I just put on an album and then that album finishes and I put on another album by a different artist. And like right now I don't just kind of, it's not when people, so The Dip are a really cool band.
I love that band.
He showed me the Dip.
Sorry,
They're great.
Their album, The Dip Delivers, is so good, and they've just had a new record this year, haven't they? Yeah. Oh man, I'm so glad you said that. I love that band.
Let's speak into the microphone.
Sorry.
Yeah, it feels so. It's obviously it's new and it's modern, but it just has that really like, what is it, like 60s kind of like
The vibe.
feel.
It's got the vibe.
And its vocals, man.
Oh my,
insane.
It always just puts a smile on my face when it comes on.
I recently put on just like some live sessions they did, or just like filmed like gigs. And I was like, yeah, they're there. Like it's exactly the same like live, if not better. Like
I think
the quality is there.
It's from their I think it's
Love
from
Direction.
Like Love Direction. Yeah, it's got like a black cover, hasn't it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from the press tour for The Dip Delivers, but there's a great live session where they're kind of like next to a swimming pool, next to like an empty swimming pool, I think.
Okay.
They do Atlas, I think, is one of the songs they do, and something about missing you, still not gonna miss you or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great live session.
Okay, sick. I'll check that out. That's one thing also with because I listen to albums, I do not know song names to say. So yeah, I really like their stuff at the moment, and they're one of the bands that are kind of in my album rotation.
Do you know Jalen Ngonda?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. He's one that I've gone, I need to listen to an album. I need to listen to one of his albums or EP or whatever he's got out.
His latest album. I'd put him above The Dip.
Really?
Of like that soul doo-wop, like got that Motown sound.
Yeah.
He is like, if he was out back then, would be renowned now as one of the best Motown artists ever.
Okay.
But because obviously it's not as big as now as it was, but he's gone from like relatively new to he's playing Roundhouse sold out next year. And it's like, and he's American. So like that's pretty sick. Like he's really blown up quickly, and it's because he is that good. And he struts around with an all blacked out like Squire Jazzmaster, and it's cool. Like I just love that because he's this tiny little guy with this. He clearly like he got to a relative success where he was like, you can have a free guitar, and he's like, Squire Jazzmaster, man, that's all I need.
Yeah, I'll keep it.
Yeah, you got these people that were like, oh, I need to get like the 10 grand guitar and all this. He's like, plug me in clean to an amp, front face of an amp.
That would be me. I'd like 1,000 followers on Instagram, and I'd be ringing Fender up like, what can I get?
Yeah,
give me something.
And he's just like, no, Squire Jazz, man. That's all I need. We'll watch some of his live sessions after we film, but Yeah, when you said the dip, I immediately thought, Tangent would be Jalen and Gonda.
We should stick that on when we go back tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would
That'd
be
be cool.
that's good.
And then I don't know the name of it. I do. Messy by Olivia Dean.
Oh, Olivia
banging
Dean.
album. Yeah.
I don't know Olivia Dean, you know. So
It's this purple cover. And just again it's I put that on because it was just an artist that I've heard about, and I was like, let me just see what this is about. And really nice. I'm really liking that album at the moment, as well as
Is that in your Mount Rushmore?
these are, well, I've got the Dip and Olivia Dean, and then I've got a few others.
Oh, they're in your Mount Rushmore.
This is a big cliff face. Okay.
this is a big
You have 4. You have
yeah,
4.
you picked
Okay,
4.
let me talk through. I'll make them quick, and then let me choose one more, and then Clairo, with her album, which is called Charm. Again came out this year, and it's a great album. It's kind of
Sad girl music.
yeah, I guess you'd say that. But even as a drummer, the drums in it, I really like it. Like very dead and
That's
just
cool.
just in the pocket. I'm gonna go with for Mount Rushmore. I'm gonna put Clairo in. I take a lot of inspiration in some of the stuff that I play from the drums.
Mm.
And I feel like she's a bit different to the other bands I have.
So is that it's like those 3 were fighting for one spot on the Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore, and then Clara's won it.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
and only because they're in my current.
That's one spot.
Yeah,
I think
bloody hell.
I think I understood it.
This is the only one I've got multiple names for.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cool. Even. This is suddenly segment 1. We've got another one to go.
Inspirational person. Again, I've got.
It's a bit awkward because I suppose he's sat right there, isn't he? But
Yeah.
no, I'm joking.
I've got my dad as well.
So here's me.
We're
So I said dad.
and then we're not doing this, okay? We're not now. Steady. My father. And that's about
Who
what
art
we're
in
doing.
heaven? Yeah.
No, we're not. Okay. Who is an actor, musician, and I just grew up with music surrounded, like all around me in my house, and a very big inspiration, and almost I know letting me know that kind of a career in the arts, if you want to say that,
is viable.
is viable and acceptable as well, because I know that it can be very frowned upon, from some people.
100%.
Yeah, and I won't go over the others, but I feel like I'll put him up there because I value his
Support.
and him sharing with us
Yeah.
as a family his passion.
Yeah.
But yeah, support is so high up there.
That's
Just through everything that I've been doing.
I feel like I'm the same, and from what I've met of your parents, I feel like they're the same as well. I feel like most musicians I know, their parents are just super supportive of it.
Yeah, man. I'm very similar because your dad's in theatre.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum, like, if she could do anything, she would love to be in theatre. She loves acting. She loves singing. She loves everything. But she just like it pretty much exactly what you were just saying. Like, it's looked at as you can't do that for a living.
Yeah, it's like it's the
That's what
classic
it's-
like when you're gonna get a real job.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
response from people who aren't.
But that's
accepting.
why, like, she specifically, but like my whole family are very supportive of me trying to make this my livelihood.
I feel like it's you definitely take it seriously as well, and I think that it makes it easier to support
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, he's being serious. He's not just sort of screwing around in the back garden, like you're at the studio writing, recording, doing this, you know.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What?
Nothing.
What's that about?
What's what about?
You just looked at me really sadly.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sad.
I've got favourite band or artist. Again, I've changed it. I'm going to ignore them. Whoa. I guess I don't, because there's have you heard of this guy called John Bellion?
I honestly thought he was going to say John Mayer there. But yes. Yeah, we've heard of him. Who?
John Bellion. He is an American, I guess like producer, songwriter, rapper, singer. He's one of them do it all kind of guys. And I guess he could have also fit into the slot of inspiration, but I guess that's just one of many.
It's not the Hamilton dude, is it?
No.
I don't know.
That's
Lin-Manuel
Miranda.
yeah.
I came across him because he had like behind the scenes kind of mini like 20-minute kind of a documentary on him in the studio making his songs for his album. I just came across one of these things and I was like, that is sick. I really like the way he's working and thinking and getting these people in to like play these like horn parts or the bass line and stuff. And then I just came to really enjoy his music. He was my second ever gig. And that was 2019. Up in Birmingham. With my dad actually, which was great. Yeah, he recently had a thing where his like record label he was signed to, there's a whole thing with kind of the contract and like they kind of took ownership of stuff that was rightfully his, and then there was a 6-year clause where he couldn't release music for 6 years if he wanted to own it or get all the rights, whatever. So he just went on a break for 6 years. And then came back like 2-3 months ago with this single, and it's a great single, and it's like, okay, he's back, and he did a thing saying how he was no artist can go on a break for 6 years and come back with everyone
And still have all the support, yeah.
And it's not everyone's cup of tea, kind of music wise, and it's definitely very different to what I listen to now, but I just like the way that he works and he does it. And then
So who are the three so far? We've got
Claro, my dad, and John Bellion.
And John Bellion.
And then greatest of all time band. I guess I could also put artist. I really struggle with this because, as we kind of picked up, I listen to more modern stuff. And I was like, I feel like greatest of all time band has to be one of the kind of classic old. This is where things derive from.
It's more like who you just view, in your opinion, is the most talented, best. But like, if you can only listen to one thing for the rest of your life now, and it's judged on them being the best thing you've ever heard, and I don't mean like an album, I mean discography, like their whole collection.
Mm-hmm.
Who would that be?
I think because we spoke about this yesterday, and my thought that back then was John Bellion, but I don't think I could, because it's very. I like the live drums of other music I listen to. I guess I put down Queen, and I think it could go a bit basic in the sense of like.
No.
Nah.
Of like that's an obvious choice.
Do you know what? There's a lot of people that aren't that big on Queen.
Yeah,
They're quite theatric. They're quite out there.
Yeah.
Some people just like rock and roll. Some people just like normal, just chill music. And Queen is not that.
I feel like Queen they're almost like an iceberg band a bit, where they've got their hits that like everybody knows.
Yeah.
You don't even need to scratch the surface that much before some songs start to get really weird.
Like that,
yeah.
They've got a really interesting discovery, and then they also have the best singer of all time. So.
Yeah. I again I'm not like a regular listener to them, but I remember having that kind of thing of like, oh, like
There's more
I
Queen
thought I knew
songs.
what the Queen sound was.
Mm.
This is not what I expected, but I was like, I really like it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And again, I'm kind of open to.
I feel like the production for the time as well. I'll just start talking about Queen for 20 minutes. But I feel like the production for the time in the 70s as well is just
Well, me
spot on with
me
all
and
the vocal
Dan-
layers and everything.
me and Dan done a video where we went through the stems of Bohemian
I
Rhapsody.
saw that.
And
I saw
we were
that.
like, so like there's apparently like 2 mics on the drums of this like 16-piece drum kit. And we listened to the solo, and it's like when you listen to it solo, it's like, yeah, okay, I can hear it. But then you put on the full mix, and it's like, how?
Yeah.
How is it not getting drowned?
Mm.
Like, it's crazy. And then Freddie's vocals, my
Oh yeah, I
insane,
bet.
insane.
I bet, especially for Bohemian Rhapsody.
yeah, man.
Yeah, so I've got Queen, I've got Claro. Queen is all-time greatest. Claro is current. Just check. I've got John Bellion as favourite, and my dad, John, as inspiration.
Solid,
Beautiful.
very solid.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for your Mount Rushmores. We are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into depressing conversations, or happy, or
There we go.
happy.
That's more like it, Mickey.
See you in a sec. Okay, so next topic of discussion, we are going to go into a bit of detail about our introduction into starting to be a musician. And then the way we're going to do it is that me and Jack are going to go up to 21, like what we done by then. And then Ethan's going to say here's up to now, because that's how old he is. He's young. He makes us feel very old. And then me and Jack are going to continue our journeys. And then Ethan's going to butt in and be like, hey, why'd that happen? Or, oh, what about this? And yeah.
Sounds good.
Should I start? Or do you guys want to start?
Maybe I feel like I'll go and then you can
Go for it, man.
go after.
Do your thing.
Because I feel like there'll be quite similar stories. I feel like you just started playing when I was younger, like in spare time. Started to then get lessons through like a guy that lived in like the local town or whatever. And then for a period of time as well, I feel like when I got back into it, when I got into playing the guitar, my dad got back into playing the guitar more than he had before. So we actually got lessons together for a period of time as
sick.
well. So we would like go to the same guy at the same time, and then he would like teach us both, and we would kind of learn together.
Nice.
Then joined my first band in school. Was in that band for like 3 or 4 years.
Is this the band that you'd bring 2 drum kits?
Yeah. Not every time, but I had seen Pure Love, who was the band that Frank Carter was in at the time, in Brighton, and it was like that was one of the first gigs I'd travelled to. Like we'd booked a hotel. I went down with my mates. My parents weren't coming. You know, that was like one of the first gigs I did alone, and they brought the drum kit into the audience. And then got like a circle pit going around it, like people run around it for the last song. And so we used to try and do that. And so we brought like a second kick with a rack tom and a snare.
Damn.
And then try and put it. No, it never had the same effect.
What kind of music? What's the genre?
But it was like rock music.
Oh, okay.
But
okay,
I'm saying when we did it, it never had the desired effect, and it was nowhere near as cool, and it never got close to being how good it was. But yeah, we did used to try and do that all the time. Be like, yeah, get the circle pit going. And it just.
You must be like pretty decent size kind of crowds then.
No.
Nope.
No, is it just like
That's
4
why-
people running
That's
around
why
this kit?
why it didn't work.
I think
Yeah,
we
okay.
were getting ahead of ourselves a little
Yeah,
bit,
okay, I
I
see.
think. But it was like the experience was so formative that we left and we were like, we have to do this. Like we have to do this like gimmick or this trick. So yeah, I was in that band, then they graduated like secondary school, and I did my A-levels, went to uni, and then that band broke up whilst I was at uni, because we all kind of went off and just did different things.
Yeah.
Then was in another band whilst I was at uni that just broke up, I think, like after a couple years. Then came to London and didn't really do anything for a while. Then joined Penny Mob.
Mhm.
Or I started playing with Penny Mob. I'm not a full member of that band, but started playing with Penny Mob, and then met you. Oh, I've just done the full thing. I didn't stop at 21.
That's Jack's whole story.
I didn't stop at 21.
We'll stop there.
Yeah, there's not too much detail there, but there you go.
Well, to be fair, I met you when you were 24, 25?
Yeah, when did we meet? 2020?
2020.
Yeah, so I would have been 24, 25 years old.
Yeah,
then.
man.
Yeah.
I would have been 21. I would have been Ethan's age.
Your age.
Yeah. Shall I? So that smoothly brings you onto my one, I guess.
Go on.
That's nice.
So I started playing drums when I was 10. I started actually having guitar lessons. Then I went to drum lessons. And then I didn't like the drum lessons, so I went back to guitar. And I still didn't like the guitar. So I went back to drum lessons. And then when I went back the second time to drum lessons, they'd got a new teacher. And thank the heavens above that they did. They had Haley Crammer.
Oh, okay.
Who is an insanely good drummer. But not only that, is just like such a good human being and a great teacher. And I'm not very good with... The first guy in my first lessons was one drum kit in the room. We sat down. He opened up a grade 1 book and went, play a straight beat. And I was like, I'm bored. This sucks. Yeah. Then at the first lesson with Haley, walked in. She was like, who do you listen to? And I was like, oh, My Chem. I was like, you probably don't even know them. And she was like, cool, yeah, My Chem, like Black Parade. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. She was like, cool, let's just chuck it on. We'll just jam it. I'll see how you get on, and then we'll see. And then we'll do the next lesson. And I'll like tell you what you're doing right, doing wrong. So for like my first ever drum lesson with her was just attempting to play My Chem.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And I was like, this is sick. And it was like, there was no like, you need to do this, you need to do that. It was never, ever that. She was like, what song you been listening to? And I was like, this. And I was like, oh, there's a cool drum part here. She's like, let's learn it.
I feel like that's so many people don't do the grades because it's like more, it's like more traditional. And you learn all your theory that way and everything. But sometimes the most fun thing to do when you're that age is... Like, especially for the guitar, is just like learn an AC/DC song or learn the stuff that you're listening to.
She was really good with that because she was so subtle with her, like, you do need to do this. Like, so like the grade 6 stuff come along and she was like, you don't have to do it, but you should probably do it. So I got that out of the way and it was easy enough. I'd never done grade 8 or anything, but it's because I didn't really need to. Never really had a need to. And then things like paradiddles and stuff like that, I was like, I don't need paradiddles. Like, I'm playing Dave Grohl tunes. He doesn't need paradiddles. He does. He uses lots. And the person that like taught me, like rudiments are sick, is Eddie Thrower. I had one lesson with Eddie Thrower, the Low and Atlantis drummer, who I actually bought my current drum kit off of, which is pretty sick. I went to a lesson with him and he was like, cool, what do you want to do, man? Again, like Haley, he was like, what do you want? I'm not going to tell you what to do. What do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I've kind of got a bit. He basically went like, plays for me for 5 minutes, just anything you want, which was horrifying. Yeah. My favorite drummer is sat across me. He just goes, just play, just jam. So of course, just Bonham fills constantly. He was like, cool. Do you know how to do a 6-stroke roll? And I was like, no, never heard of it. He was like, he was like, try it. And it was like, he was like, cool. He was like, just keep doing that for a bit. And I did it for a little bit. And he was like, right, I'm going to play a beat. You try and make that feel. Then I'm going to feel while you play a beat. And we done that for like an hour. And then he was like, cool, done. And then to this day, all I play on the drum kit is 6-stroke rolls because they are so fun, man. And it was just like that's how you fly around a drum kit. Because you see these people that just fly around. I'm like, how are you doing that? Rudiments, man. Yeah. So, that's my drum story. So, like you, I was joined a band in school called The Recoups. We were originally called... Scott, can you remember what we were called? Plain Nation was the first one.
I like no diss on the name The Recoups. I like Plain Nation. That's a good band name. Yeah.
We were Plain Nation for a bit, and then we changed it to, for one day, Louis and Alan changed it to Kick, but the I was an exclamation mark.
Cool.
I was not a fan of that one.
sounds like a musical.
And and then we changed it to the Recoups, and I really like the name the Recoups. That's a good name.
What does it mean?
It was because we were kick while I was in hospital, and then because I was recouping from cancer, they were like, "What about the Recoups?" And it'll be like the new start.
Nice.
And we were like, "Yeah, that's sick."
That is cool.
Yeah,
I never knew that. That's really sweet. That's a good name.
So yeah, that's what we were called, the Recruits, and we were in that band from genuinely year 7 to when we were like 20. We were like pushing a decade, and when I tell you, we must have played every single grassroots venue in London, and some in Brighton, some in other places. Literally took any gig we could, and that's why now I know what I'm doing, kind of thing. It's like I feel like almost at 26, a bit of a veteran of like grassroots venues, and yeah, man. I mean, you know how it is. Like you ask me a venue in London, I know the capacity of it. Like
that is your like party trick.
Yeah.
is you know the capacity. I remember when we were thinking about planning the show for the first Meet Arthur EP forever ago, and you were like, okay, well we want it to be 200 cap or whatever, and then you just listed off the 10 venues or whatever in the city that was
like,
suitable.
these are the ones that weren't absolutely dreadful to play.
Yeah, we decided the cap, and then you were like, cool, here's the list, let's pick from that list. And it just rattled it off.
There's Water Rats, big up Water Rats.
Love Water Rats.
But yeah, we played loads of gigs, but the best bit about the Recoups is we learned every single lesson you possibly could in those gigs. So things like turning up and the headliners are assholes that take 2 hours to do a sound check, and then the sound guy goes, "You guys aren't sound checking, like you bunch of teenagers," and it's like, "Oh, so we've been saying for 2 hours, and we're not sound checking." And first few times that happens, we're like, "Yeah, man, cool, don't worry." And after a while, we're like, "No, good joke. We're sound checking right now. I don't care." And like you really have to stick up yourself. Things like when you get to a venue, you introduce yourself to the sound guy. You are lovely to the sound guy, because he can make your night.
Every single
he
time.
can ruin your night. He can make your night.
I just feel like it's like his room as well.
The TV's just gone off with the extra light. There we go.
It's like it's their room as well. Like they know what sounds good. I feel every room is different. Every room has like a different sound. And if the guy that works there says, "Oh, it sounds better in this room if you do this," it probably sounds better in the room if you do that.
And then we split in, I want to say like 2017, because Alan and Ollie wanted to start doing like more indie stuff, whereas I was very like, I was into a lot of like pop punk and stuff like that, so I was very like heavy with my stuff. Louis quite creative with his bass lines, and they just wanted to play like really nice, like almost shoegaze kind of stuff. So they started a band called Rames, and then Louis joined a band called In Waves, which at this point is still in at the moment. And I was like, do I drum for someone else? Because I was drumming for a band called Sleeping Lions at the time. But then that ended as well.
Great band names coming out.
But then that ended as well. So I was like, don't worry about that. And then I'd learnt like C, G, E, A, D, and was like, you can write songs with that. So I wrote a few tunes. It's like Teenage Disaster. I think Teenage Disaster was the first song I've wrote.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that to me.
Yeah, and
that was on the ad when I responded to the Meet Arthur ad. Teenage Disaster was one of the songs.
And then through Make a Wish, when I had cancer, I got like a studio in my garden. It's a shed. I got a shed in my garden, and I just got like 6 input interface, a few drum mics, and then I started making demos. And I was like, do you know what? This is fun. I'm gonna give up front a go for a bit. Done it for 2 years, and then we went into lockdown. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I really miss that band dynamic, so I'm gonna start a band again. And I wrote our song Golden Shoes, and it was very different to the solo stuff I was doing. And I was like, do you know what? This is it. I'm gonna launch this new band from that. Asked Cam, who was playing bass for me at the time, do you want to join this band? He was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And then I put an ad out on Join My Band, which Jack was the only person to reply to. But he was the first person to reply to. We met up, and it was like hell yes, like this is sick. And then that's me at 21. Just started Meet Arthur.
Sick.
Yeah, man.
Dreadful. Dreadful. I'm just thinking about how old I am.
Are you wanting drums only or everything music related?
Just kind of exactly what we just done, like
Okay, cool.
why you started and then like how it went.
I started, I said, kind of always been around music, and then it was a thing where me, my older brother, and then my younger sister 2 years later we would learn an instrument in year 7, like, and when we went to secondary school. So my brother learnt trumpet.
I took trumpet lessons as well.
So
What did you learn?
drums.
They sorry.
Good guess, man.
No, but like drums seems like such a cool instrument.
And you're so
Hello.
No.
You know?
I mean, do you know what I mean? If the options were like trumpet, drums, why did anyone choose?
Well, my dad played trumpet, so I think my brother was like, that'd be cool.
That is sorry. I was just saying that's like a really cool thing for a school to offer. Like my school.
Oh,
didn't
really?
Offer to teach,
No, yeah.
didn't offer to
Maybe
teach
it's
me
a Catholic
drums.
thing.
This was just a secondary school.
Yeah.
Man.
Sorry, no, I was just
I went
surprised.
to a Catholic high school.
Yeah,
I was just surprised. Sorry.
and my sister learned guitar, but dropping that like a year and a half, 2 years in. Anyway, so I started drum lessons, and then I remember in year 8, there were some new teachers that came in, and they were much more enthusiastic and cool, and I'd always, because of my brother being 3 years older than me, before I joined the school, had gone to like the concerts that the school were putting on, and I was like, I really want to be part of that, and was slowly like, okay, I'm gonna start joining this, and then I joined the orchestra, and then the concert band, and then ended up also joining the choir, because when you go into year 9, it's like, I then studied GCSE music, and it was like, if you're doing GCSE music, you kind of have to do the choir, and like, I only did it because all my mates were in it, and like, it's just fun, isn't it? It's a good
that's
laugh.
cool, man.
And then also maybe the jazz band, I think. So
Damn, that's awesome.
but it was very much like, there's like the oldest guy on drums, and then you're on tambourine or a shaker or like xylophone or something.
But that's so much for a school.
I was
to
just
offer.
about to say,
It was great.
Is your school like a music specialist school? Because
No.
ours was PE and science,
Yeah.
and they put no effort into letting kids add musical abilities. They made no effort to say, you do know this could be a career, right?
This wasn't you can, they didn't push it as a career, but they pushed it as, this would be great in your CV, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just that I ended up realizing, because then obviously, while I was at school, I then made a band. Some of my mates were called Jukebox, which I thought was such a sick name.
Classic.
Great name.
But then we were like, we don't want to just be like doing covers, and I feel like that's such like a covers name.
I was going to
It's
say
a great
cover.
cover,
That's a
great
great
like
cover
function
name.
for a
band
covers
name.
band.
And then, but like I kind of
Should we write
like,
these down?
Yeah.
and then
Or recording it.
yeah,
Well played.
nice. And then it got to choosing like my options for sixth form, and I was like, okay, music. There's nothing else that I enjoy and have the same passion for, and it's kind of good at in a way.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to college.
Yeah.
And I went to that college because in year 10, when you have to do work experience, I did work experience with the tech serve guy, like at this college,
Right.
the music tech guy, and spent a week with him, a guy called Pete, and I just really enjoyed it. So then joined at college, and then was in like a couple bands at college. That other band school, that kind of, the last gig we played was like our end of year 11, last day at school. It's like you dress up in like whatever you want.
Yeah.
We went as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then played.
Did you play
it.
Chili songs?
Yeah, we did like pretty much like a function set, like 245s.
That's
It was
cool.
great.
That's cool.
I like 16 years old. It was great. In front of your whole year, and it's like some people like, I never knew you could play drums before. Then went to college with one of the guys in that band actually, and but then was in a couple bands because they put you in bands, and then got to like March, COVID. So then finished off my first year of college online, and then went back into the new year, and then there was a guy there, a new teacher who joined, a guy called Aaron, who was our like new kind of studio teacher, I guess. And I did a lot of recording and a lot of playing at this college, and a lot of gigs. I did like my first like gigs with this college. And then originally I was like, I don't want to go to uni. I just want to be a musician. I was like, I want to be a musician, but I don't want to go to uni. And then I was like, no, I need to get to London. So I'm really just other side of Bristol, a little town. Well, not so little anymore, but you guys. And I was like, I need to get to London. That's where music is. And I also have a big love for musical theatre, and this kind of passion was also growing. And I was like, yeah, let's get to London. So I then auditioned for 2 unis and got into both, but then ended up choosing the better one, which I still kind of stand by. Saying that, there's a really cool course that's come up on the other one, which I won't mention, but if that was when I was there at the time, who knows. And then in that summer before joining uni, this my teacher from college, a guy called Aaron, I mentioned earlier, he asked if I wanted to do some drum teching for a band, and then ended up doing a couple of gigs with this band, and that was really cool because it was such a new thing for me. And obviously it was paid work, and I was like, damn, like I did not know
I can make
this.
money doing music.
Yeah, well, I'm not even like I wasn't playing. I was just like setting up the drum kit.
Yeah.
I feel like
And,
the
like-
teching, it's never something I've done, but would love to do, and I feel like that must give you so much like great experience and just knowledge, because so many gigs are so similar in so many different ways. So just like doing it constantly and repeatedly in different locations with different crews, just must be such great experience to have.
It was nice because the first one I did with them was at the same venue that my college would do gigs at. So I knew the space. I kind of knew the people who worked there.
Yeah.
But then the next day we were at this like festival like in the middle of nowhere.
That's cool.
And I'd like it's not a big festival by any means compared to, but it was still like I was like, this is. And you got your own little like VIP, like not VIP, but like dressing room area.
Yeah.
And it was great. So then went to uni, sorry. And then you also get put in bands there. So then meeting lots of people. And then in the new year, in my first year, I then started doing drum teaching, covering for a guy I met through the uni. And then that again, I was like, what, you can make money teaching what you enjoy? I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So that was great. And then, from then, it's kind of the tech work's picked up, the teaching's picked up. I've been gigging with
lots of people.
Yeah, a lot of different people, mostly from my uni, which is great because it's different genres, and it's different kind of like amounts of prep. Sometimes it's like like my first gig in London was I had like one rehearsal and then the gig, and it was for this girl, and she was kind of like R&B kind of music, and I'm going in there with like graduates of like 3 years ago they graduated from like the Royal Academy of Music, and then I'm there like I'm in my second week of uni. But like that was like such like a shock of like, right, you need to be on your shit, like learn your parts, and kind of you're again she's an artist, you have a job to play, like a role to play. It's you got to make it as easy for them as possible, and then that's just been kind of like how I've kind of thought about playing with all the other people I've played for. I'm like, I'm supporting them as much as I'm part of this production. they need to have the best time possible, and if they're doing that, I know I'm kind of doing a good job.
Yeah.
And then I've now graduated uni on my 3-year course,
And you're stuck with this lot.
and I'm here, and didn't know. Let me try that one more time. Isn't where I thought I'd be, but that's not a bad. Yeah, and I'm just continuing to kind of build on my network of playing with people, doing more tech stuff, more teaching.
I feel like when we played with you, the professionalism came over, because that's how we first, I first met you, is when Cam was still drumming for me, Arthur, and you filled in for him.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time thinking, he smashed this. Like, he'd actually, sometimes people haven't listened to the songs or whatever, and you'd like turned up and you'd very obviously given it like a lot of hard work already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we could have played that first rehearsal, and if that had been the gig, it would by no means have been the worst gig we ever played.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it would have been absolutely fine.
Thank you.
We auditioned drummers pre Dan joining the band.
Yeah.
And so we had Joe from Reims play for us, and
He was good.
He was good, but we needed Cam.
Yeah.
We needed someone that's gonna smash the shit out of those drums, Dale. And we just couldn't ask Joe to be that because he's just not the drummer that he is. And we were like, it's really tough because he's lovely as well. We get on with him. So it was a tough call, that one. And then we auditioned your guy, who we said you turned up and learnt the songs.
He just hadn't had just very obviously not listened to the songs once, kind of thing. It was it was rough. So it was super refreshing when someone comes in and it's like, okay, you've
just like it was with Dan.
Yeah, Dan, exactly the same as well. Yeah,
Cam finally accepted he was going to be the drummer, and he's like, "Hey, I know this guy called Dan. Do you want me to bring him in and play him on bass?" We literally, like you said, we ran the set and we were like, "We could gig tomorrow," and we literally texted each other, was like, "Cool, so he's in."
I remember I did that when I first auditioned for Penny Mob. They had asked me to learn 2 songs or whatever, but had 10 songs on the SoundCloud. And I thought it was by accident, and I really liked the songs, and so I just learnt the lot, and then turned up to the because there was one of them where you were they had a rehearsal room booked for 5 hours, and it was one guy comes in for an hour, and then he's gonna go, and then another guy's gonna come in for an hour.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna learn the lot, and then turned up and was like, yeah, we can just do them all. Let's do them all instead.
Yeah.
And I think that was what got me that.
Sick.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have another little break, and then we shall carry on with our stories. Yeah,
Cute.
Sick.
See you in a sec. Okay, so where did I leave it at? I just started Meet Arthur, and I'd met you.
Yeah.
So started writing more songs. Started rehearsing. It was you, me, and Cam in the band. And as we were saying just then, we auditioned a few drummers, just wasn't working out. And then eventually Cam was like, do you know what, I'll be on the drums, let's get a bass player in. At this time we'd released Stuck, Golden and Heavenly. And then we auditioned Dan, obviously, Dan in the band, and absolutely killed it. Played every song. It was like that. We were like, if you could just learn a couple, and he turned up and knew every song.
Yeah.
And it was like, sweet, you're in. And then we just started gigging. We took pretty much every gig we can get at that point, really.
I remember my catchphrase, which was we are not better than this gig.
Yeah.
Anything that came
We
our
also
way,
needed-
I was we should take it.
When you've got that new set, you need to road test it. You need to play it again and again and again and again. You need to work out what worked, what didn't work. You need to work, does that song go there or does that song go there? And we done that. And then it got to headlines. So it was headlining Water Rats. It was headlining Engine Rooms.
Yeah.
It was playing Why Not Festival and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, this is sick. But then it was like, and this is what the main premise of this podcast is life. I don't think musicians really talk about it, that it's really not easy to do this. I look at some people and I'm like, how are you funding yourself? I don't get it.
I think it's we were talking about this in reference to you the other day, but the modern musician is like diversified. It's sort of gone are the days where you could kind of be in a band and then that
What May Healy said,
like
the
make your
the Phoebe
wage.
Buffet effect.
The-
No longer can you be a part-time masseuse and play guitar on the weekends and still make rent and go out with your mates.
yeah. Like there's no
You can't do that anymore.
You've got to do something else, or loads of musicians teach because that can be like relatively steady income as well, or tech work. Like you've got to do other things, and then like in my case with me, Arthur, after a while, just the other things just sort of creep up on you. Just get so serious that you're like, oh, I can't dedicate the time that needs to be dedicated to this, and then because it also takes up so much time and effort, like behind the scenes as well.
I had that recently. With someone I was playing for. Well, actually, I've had it quite a lot where it's like I'm getting to the point where I'm very fortunate to have paid stuff come in because I finished uni and I want to become a full-time musician. But yeah, it's difficult. And I'm like,
are you not a full-time musician? Like if you're not studying and earning money, paying music, like learning music,
I know
are
what
you
you
not
mean.
a full-time musician? Maybe not living the dream, but you know.
like I know what you mean. I feels like because I'm still finding my way.
Yeah.
If I still feel like I'm finding my way, I know some people may think differently, but like, I'm still. There's still stuff that I'm doing where, either I don't know. That's a hard question.
Is of the stuff you're doing at the moment, is
Yeah.
there like some stuff that you would want to do more of and some stuff that you would maybe want to do less of, like in an ideal world? Like if you could choose the projects.
Yeah, I would love to be doing more tech stuff, tech work. I would love to be doing more gig band stuff, artist stuff. I do enjoy teaching, but and as much as it is very helpful and great in the way of getting money in, it's not a passion I have.
Yeah,
which
I
is hard because it's like I do enjoy it, but then it's like when you compare it to the gigs, the tech work, or even like the musical theatre stuff I do, because that's another side of it. I don't want to say I don't. I do enjoy teaching, but I know it
I know what you mean.
as a
though.
preference.
Yeah.
I would like to
Get
have a
sacked in the morning.
look at
Sacked in the morning. No, I know what you mean. My mum's been telling me for ages, and again to go in the grades of drums, she's like, get your grade 8 and like go get a job teaching. Like you don't have to work in an office. And I'm like, I don't like learning, and I don't like teaching. I don't like telling somebody how to do something because then I don't really know what to do. I'm not very like, if you ask me a question, I'm like, no, like you need to do it like this, or like this is how you do it. And like, I don't really like. I would rather just crack on for myself, and then bring people in around me who know more than me to tell me what to do. I don't want to tell people what to do. They need to tell me what to do, kind of thing. And then I make them think that I'm leading this group, when in actual fact, no, I'm bringing you in because you can do that job better than I can.
Team around you,
Yeah, that's what good leaders do, man.
I think that I what I do like about teaching is the kind of reward of I'm showing someone how to play something or kind of how to learn something, and then seeing that payoff is very
Rewarding.
Yeah. It's like that is a difference I've made in that person, and you just see it within a matter of minutes. But I also like it in the way of it makes me become a better player, and a better learner, because I'm having to be like, well, if this is the way I would learn something, I'm putting it towards them. If they struggle with like that way of thinking, I have to go, okay, what other way can they go about this to understand it? And then the amount of times where you kind of thought about something, or just done it a little bit differently, or added one thing, taken away something else, and then gone, actually that could really benefit me as well, is great. And I do like that.
It's funny. I feel like, I know this is the case for you talking about Haley, but for me as well, or you don't really realize at the time, but looking back, my guitar teacher was like a jobbing, working musician who was teaching in his
Yeah,
spare
man.
time, you know, to earn a bit of extra money on the side. Same with Haley, who's like a working drummer who was teaching on the side
It's
for a
so
bit
weird
of money.
to think of it now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like all of the stories, or most of the stories I know that people have when they're like, oh, I loved this music teacher when I was younger, that's the case, is the person was a musician who wasn't necessarily earning like a living off playing music, and so was teaching in their spare time to supplement their income.
100%.
Because you also do just think this is what they do. I
Yeah,
had that thought of like,
it sounds
this is
really
all he does.
stupid, but yeah, well, I think when I was learning guitar off the guy at the time,
Yeah,
I thought, yeah, he's a guitar teacher. And now when I look back,
he's a guitarist.
he was in a function band.
Yeah, yeah.
He had an originals band. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the time, I just thought of him as a teacher, whereas now he's probably doing something similar to what you're doing, where it's like teaching in his spare time, getting a bit of money,
Yeah.
but the aim is to be a musician playing music.
Yeah, that was it with Haley. I think she would be, when she was teaching me, she would have been about 29, 30, I think. And she was in a band called McQueen, who were doing pretty well, like to the point where like Slash would turn up at their gigs and
That's
play a
sick.
few songs, like a good level band. Then that split, and then she moved to China for a year.
She's still playing with Pop Evil.
No, she left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But so she went to China for a year. That's when I stopped lessons.
yeah.
And it was, you know, like the cruise ship kind of thing of like you go away for 3 months. She went to China for a year for paid work because she like you have to.
Yeah.
And then she come back and then she joined Pop Evil, which is sick. They're huge. Like we saw them.
We
live.
saw them in London. They were wicked that
They're
night. As well.
very
Yeah,
good
they were
band. Like
awesome.
I've seen them at Hammersmith Apollo. I've been backstage at Hammersmith Apollo because of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Like they're really big. But yeah, I think it was like 6 months ago now. She left Pop Evil. I'm not sure what she's up to now. I think she's doing like audio library work. So she's like that. Yeah. So like there's a recent Prince of Persia game that come out, and her and her wife done all the drums for it,
Oh, really?
which is like that's so sick.
That's so cool.
Doing the music for a game
Yeah.
like is like out now. You can go buy it. It's like hell yeah.
That is cool.
So yeah, man, and it is funny when you say that because it's like, do you know what? Yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, my drum teacher, and it's like, no, she's me, she's you. She would have been like busting her ass to get these bloody drum jobs out, these teaching jobs out of the way, so she can actually go and play drums.
Yeah.
And it is a weird thing to think about.
But it's kind of a necessity, I think, of being a musician now is having to do those like other things.
Well, there's people like Eddie Frower. Eddie Frower's touring with Busted, playing arenas, playing Brazil, playing like Japan, playing all these
Still has
festivals.
his shoe company.
But then he's got his shoe company. He's doing his podcast. He's
Yeah.
doing Patreon. He's doing drum lessons. And it's like, wait, what? But he's like smashing it as a drummer. You also have to do all that stuff as well. Like even at that. And it's
There's
just
a,
like,
oh, good.
no, go on.
There's a guy called Craig Reynolds. I don't know if you've heard of, who's a drummer from a band called Stray from the Path, and Sky TV or like Sky News, I don't know, recently did like a 8-minute kind of segment on him as a YouTube video, basically being like, it was like a thing of like they were kind of doing a series of like artists or like creatives, how they make money.
Yeah.
And he said in that, he was like, I'm a drummer, I need to make money, I'm a drummer in a band, I only get paid for the gigs, but the amount of time I spend rehearsing,
Yeah.
why don't I get paid? I don't get paid for the rehearsals when
Yeah.
I'm practicing. I'm gonna live stream my rehearsals, like
Yeah.
me practicing. So then he's now and
on like YouTube or something.
Twitch and
oh
YouTube.
yeah.
So then-
that's a great idea.
he's now got this like studio. He lives up in Glasgow, and or Scotland. Well, yeah. Anyway, and he lives up and he just live streams, and he does like a daily kind of stream, and it's him, and sometimes it's like he's just doing like stupid, like he's just blast beating over like the Barbie like theme, but like sometimes it is like, well, majority of the time it's him learning songs or trying new stuff. He also does playthroughs or stuff, but then he also has his podcast, he has his clothing brand, he has YouTube, he does reaction videos, and he's just like, he is a drummer who's touring the world with this band, he still needs to make. He's the times that we're in at the moment. Like he's needing.
Yeah, I feel like
these 5 different, like 6 different things.
You need that the diversification, but also it's like monetizing your time. I feel
Yeah.
like I say, if he's wasting time, not wasting time, but if he's using up time to learn songs for a paid gig by live streaming that, he's like monetized the time that he otherwise wouldn't be able to. I always think of I hope it's a well-known example, but like Rabia Masad has his YouTube presence, and when he played guitar for Stormzy when he headlined Reading Festival, or when he headlined Reading and Leeds, and
It was
he did
Glasgow, wasn't it?
Pardon?
It was Glastonbury.
No, it was Reading and Leeds. I don't think it was Glasgow.
Yeah, because then Skunk and Nancy were fuming that he said he's the first black man.
Stormzy did headline Glasgow, but Rabia didn't play that. I think so. Because he did like a video, and the reason they got him is they were like, "Oh, Reading and Leeds is like traditionally a rock festival," and so they wanted to do something to like tip the hat to that. So they did like a rock version of Big Michael.
I don't know any of his songs.
Okay, fair enough.
I saw it. It was great.
He played on "Blinded by Your Grace" as well. But anyway, the point was he did like a behind the scenes video, and he was saying they just found him on Instagram, and they were like, "Yeah, this guy looks good, fits the bill." Saw his YouTube channel, and that's how he got the session job. And then he ended up playing like the headline slot of Reading Festival.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Like we were talking about yesterday, where like we're talking about social media. It's like my social media is kind of my CV in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely found that one of my inspirations for the Mount Rushmore was gonna literally just be social media and Instagram and like YouTube, and just seeing people, many covers, but then also seeing like pit drum cams of like people playing shows, and I was like, damn, I really want to be doing that, and just that was such like a thing. But that's something I like. Again, I can't just go and gig and do. I now like. What content like with this content just to advertise yourself, and obviously some people do it loads, some people don't do it all, some people are like great at it, and obviously it works for different people, but also that was my first way of networking. It was through Instagram. And then when I moved to London, it was like, okay, there is more to networking than DMing someone.
It's weird. I feel like it gives you like all that aspect of it gives you more exposure, it gives you more opportunities to make money. It gives you like access to more things, but in a way it like increases the competition because other people have all of those tools as well that they can use. And then, like no longer is it, oh, I know this guy and this guy who can drum, who's better for this track. Like I said, you could just scroll through #drummer on Instagram or whatever and just scroll through and find people. You could probably search by area as well. People that lived in your city that were drumming and be like, oh, he's great, we'll have him, or she's great, we'll have her.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it really increases the competition as well. So it's like good and bad in a way.
Yeah. I like it as just you go onto my page, and obviously again recently I've like started doing a little bit about my life just to be like, because also now I'm like, well, okay, they may enjoy my playing, but do they think they'll get on with me? Like,
you need to put that
so like
forward.
there's a little bit of my personality, or like me with my mates, or like I don't know, just out and about, just so it's like he isn't just a drummer who doesn't like do anything. And it's I hate the fact I have to worry about this, and it's not like a big worry, but it's just
I mean, look at what we're doing right now.
Yeah, literally.
We're having to make a podcast.
I feel like it becomes because I feel like the reason you get into music or start a band when you're in school is never to
do this.
Or is never to think, but then eventually there comes a point where it's like, oh, I've got to pay my rent next month. I've got to pay my gas bill or whatever it is.
And as well as I need to reach John in Brighton and Timmy in Manchester. And it's like, well, I'm not going to do that by playing one show a month in London. I need to do some form of content to get out there. And I'm not doing a TikTok dance. I'm not going to sit and like mouth along to my song on a beach for TikTok. I'm going to do some reaction videos on YouTube because I just have to sit.
I think music
down and listen to music. That's all I have to do. And it works. We've had more followers and new fans find us from reactions than I've ever had in my whole music career. And we've been doing it for about 7 months. And it's like, are you kidding me? This is what works. Like we sit here and listen to music. And then we're like, okay, so like what else can we monopolize on? So it's like podcasts. Podcasts are like massive. They're the biggest thing in the world right now. And again, you sit there and we've been here for this whole weekend doing this. Let's just turn some cameras on, plug some mics in, and see who wants to listen to it. Because someone will, you know. Speaking of that, we should probably wrap this one up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Any concluding messages to any younger musicians or older musicians that are trying to make it or had to call it a day for various reasons and always look back and think, should I have? And I think my message to them ones, for the people that couldn't hack it anymore and were just like, I need to pack it in, it's fine. Just join a band that gig every 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Or you just get in a room and play with. You don't have to sell out a stadium to enjoy music. Just do what you want to do.
I think that's something I've started doing more recently, is like learning to have, not that
Learn to have fun again.
fun, but yeah, like having more fun with it. Like the analogy I always use is I always use the football player analogy with this when we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But for so long you wanted to be like a professional footballer, but I've learned to just like enjoy playing Sunday League with my friends.
Yeah.
And that I feel is like, that's what I'm doing at the moment, is I'm just jamming with a couple bands like at the weekend or whatever, and it's like Sunday League, you know, but that's nice. And then it takes sort of the pressure off, and there's less effort. There's like,
you don't have to sit and call a Discord meeting to go, right, what's our year plan and strategy?
Yeah.
You go, do you want to do a practice?
How are we going to fund the next single? Let's meet up and write. Let's meet up and rehearse. Let's sort this out. Like, there's just so much less. And there's nothing wrong with that. That would be my message, is like, it's fine just to be chill with it.
Yeah.
And just play for the love of playing.
And honestly, you could be, this is the thing as well, it's like there's no written rule book to it. You could be chill and be the Sunday League band, and you could play one gig where an A&R rep's strolling by and goes, what a banger. And they sign you. Like there's no secret to making it. Just do you, do it however you want to do it. And it might work, it might not, who cares? As long as you're having a good time, it does not matter.
Definitely.
Even?
I know. I feel like I don't know. Like if I have a place to like, I don't want to be like, this is how you do it. But I know. Like again, I think it's like, have fun. Like if you wanna, I mean, this is how I viewed it. I was like, okay, I want to have fun with it, but I also want this to be a career. So I'm gonna treat it like a job, and yeah, okay, I have been slacking with stuff, but it's like treat practice is like there is an outcome, and like as much as like, because you got to enjoy it, you can't hate it, but still put in the effort. Don't treat it as like, I'm just jamming out on my kit, because I fall into that trap so often. I'm like, no, this is, if you want to make a living, you have to put some fucking effort.
Yeah, that's it. Like if you want it to be a living, you have to.
We're
to
working.
Work at it.
I see this. We're working right now.
Yeah.
Like this is work.
And I also think, and my other point would be just like being open-minded to new opportunities and new experiences, and not being, I don't know, imposter syndrome, which is a whole other conversation, but definitely something that I kind of struggle with in various kind of rates for different stuff. But it's like, don't take on something because you don't think you're capable. If you know you're able to learn, and there is time, or the person does trust you who's got you in, because one of the best things that happened to me is me being asked to do a job, and I'm there like, I've never done this before, and it's been one of the kind of the best kind of jobs that I've done.
Yeah.
And it was such a new world, and I just think being open-minded to new things, I don't know, whether that be styles of music or I don't know where the gig is, like location. I just think from wherever it is, just being open-minded.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Buy our merch.
Buy the
it's
merch.
available at Allotment Productions. Shout out Allotment Productions.
Can I shout my Instagram?
I'll put it in the bio.
I'm gonna say anyway.
Dan.
Okay.
Dan, can you put it in the bio, please?
Ethan Bonner drums on Instagram, please. Cheers. Like that'd be great.
He's got to diversify the income stream, man. Gotta get-
Cool. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.